The New York Islanders are probably selecting 13th overall at the 2022 NHL Draft. So with that in mind, are there any players that could fall to them when they get to the podium? It is Tip Top Tuesday, except I'm not wearing a tie today. I miscalculated the size of my neck, I suppose, or I got larger after I bought this shirt, because I cannot, for the life of me, close this button. I just can't do it without choking myself, and so I'm not going to do that. But we're not here to talk about my neck size and poor shirt buying habits. We're here to talk about the NHL Draft. And while the Islanders are probably going to select 13th overall, there's a possibility that they move up or even move down. Hours after I hit the record button here, the NHL Draft lottery will have taken place, and we'll actually find out where the Islanders will be selecting. The odds are overwhelming that they're probably going to be staying at 13. Like when you look at the Tankathon board here, there's a 2.6% chance they move all the way up to third. There's a 1.7% chance they move up to fourth, 5% chance that they move back to 14th, but like a 93% chance that they stay at 13. So assuming they stay at 13, who are some of the players that are probably going to be around there, and who are some of the players that might fall down to where they might select? And so you'll remember a few weeks ago, or even a few months ago at this point, I built a top 15, right? What I did is I looked at 6 different draft boards and I said, based on where all these players are landing in all these different draft boards, this is probably what will end up at the NHL Draft. And while that was months ago, things have happened obviously since then. So there's going to be some fluctuation. So what I did is I went back to those draft boards to see if they had new ones and build a new top 15. And while most of them did have new like end of the year draft boards, not all of them did. Bob McKenzie and Dauber Prospects didn't put out a new one as when I was gathering the information, but all the other ones did. So here's the list of the 6 draft boards that I looked at. The 2 in the middle are the ones that didn't have new ones. And then you'll see here the consolidated one, what it now looks like with the movement from the previous draft board. So you see there the top 15 in terms of names. I even went down to 17 just because there were 17 players that came up. The new rank, how many points they picked up, the last rank, and then the difference. Obviously the ones in red are the guys who moved down. And that's what we're really concerned with. I also added, as a few other columns here, the NHL Central Scouting Rankings in terms of North American and European skaters to see what NHL scouts are thinking of these prospects and if it kind of coincides with the draft boards we're seeing publicly. And so you look at that draft board and there's not a whole lot of volatility, but there are some guys that are falling here in both the counts, right? You've got Matthew Savoie, Joachim Kemmel, Daniel Yulov, Denton Matvichuk, and Isaac Howard, who all seem to be falling both in terms of the public draft boards and when it comes to the NHL Central Scouting. So we know the Islanders are picking 13th. So when we go back to that draft board and look to see who's going to be available or might be available when the Islanders pick, I've got a little box here that I've gone around. You got Lekkerimaki, Geeky, Gotse, Mintyukov, and Miroshnichenko that might be available when the Islanders pick at 13. Cool, fine, like all of those guys are fine. Carter Gotse would be epic just because of his name. Also, he's a good player, but the name is extra epic. You would have Blade Jenkins and Carter Gotse in the same prospect pool. Epic. But what we're interested in is who can fall. Is there anyone that could fall to the Islanders when they pick 13? And you look at that ranking and you're saying Matthew Savoie, Joachim Kemmel, Danilo Yurov are below that 13 threshold and could fall, right? Like specifically Yurov, -2 in terms of his draft rank, his consolidated draft ranking, -4 in terms of his position when it comes to NHL Central Scouting. He could very well fall to the Islanders. There are 2 other names though that aren't in red that we're probably all eyeing, and that is Brad Lambert and Frank Nazar. Brad Lambert specifically, he's fallen 5 steps. That's the biggest drop outside of Denton Matvichuk compared to the mid-season and the final season NHL Central Scouting ranking. That is a big fall from Brad Lambert. The 21-22 season wasn't really a standout year for Brad Lambert. He put up 10 points in some 50-plus games split between Yip and the Pelicans, right? So he started the year off with Yip, wasn't going well. They were crashing to the bottom of the league standings. And then I'm not going to say forced to move, but eventually did get a move to the Pelicans, who were a playoff team, and he could play down the middle. Yip wasn't seemingly ready to play him down the middle, and he wants to be a center. So the Pelicans were going to give him that shot. He went there and really didn't stand out. Again, 4 points is what he got in 25 games with them. That's not really good. In the playoffs, played 3 games, didn't put up any points, but you saw that creativity and the high skill level he brings to the game. He is a highly skilled player. He's got the touch. He can really perform offensively if the pieces around him are good, which of course is the thing for most players, right? Like there aren't very many players who can just take over a game in and of themselves. Brad Lambert, while has game-breaking ability, still needs others to have that game-breaking ability sustain itself over a full year. So will Brad Lambert actually be available to the Islanders when they step up to 13? Who knows for sure, but I have a suspicion he's going to fall further than we think. It's not going to be a full Aatu situation, but he's going to fall down the draft. For sure, it's just how far is that going to go? He was already supposed to be in the top 3. Now we're talking 9th overall. Can he fall down a few more steps? Yeah, he might. Like some of the teams ahead of the Islanders are bringing in prospects for the next year or so, right? They're saying like this year won't matter, but by next year you better be ready. The Islanders aren't in that situation. They're not saying we need Brad Lambert to turn things around. No. So like take 2 years, whatever. We just want to draft skill and top end prospects. And that's what this kid is. He's got a high level of hockey skill, of hockey IQ. He can really get things done if he's able to mature and grow. And in the Islanders system, he's going to be given that chance to do so. So if he's there on the board, the Islanders have to go for him. I don't care if you like Frank Nazar, and you probably do. Like, he's a good player. Lekari Mackey, good player too, did well at the juniors. It's got to be Brad Lambert if he's there. Will he be? Remains to be seen, but I have a sneaky suspicion that he will be. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so. It helps me grow the channel, reach more Islanders fans. And if you have or plan on doing so, thank you, thank you, thank you.